signature ways, I suppose, one of the key ways in which NAU seeks to support new students like you. And so I'm going to talk about just various facets of the class, why you might find it useful as a new student, and hopefully field any questions you might have about the class. One thing I'll say right off the get-go is that this is the NAU 100 class is an extended orientation, what we call an extended orientation seminar. So it's meant to continue your orientation experience throughout the fall semester and really ensure that you have a smooth transition to college. And these types of seminars are not unique to NAU. They are most institutions offer them, and they're actually one of the oldest ways in which institutions of higher education seek to support new students. So it's kind of a tried and tested model. These classes have been around, I think, for at least 100 years. And so, that's just, I guess, a little bit of historical context. I am a historian by training, so I apologize if that bored you. But anyway, I'm going to jump into my presentation here, and then hopefully we can get into a little bit of dialogue. Unfortunately, I can't see your faces, and we can't interact verbally, I don't think, but happy to answer any questions you might have in the chat. So, all right, I'm going to pull up my presentation here. One thing I was going to mention too, right off the get-go, is we sent out an email blast to a whole bunch of folks today, I believe. So you might have gotten an email from us about NAU 100 as well. And that's got a little video in it kind of talking about the benefits of the class and how you might find it useful. So if you'd like to check that out, I encourage you to check out your email and look at that video message from us. So, all right. NAU 100 transition to college. Well, in terms of overview, wanted to talk about a couple of things. As I mentioned, this is an extended orientation seminar. One of the unique things about our seminar is it actually lasts the entire fall semester. So you'll be getting support through this class through the entirety of the fall. And that's why we have it for the entire 16 weeks, is we find that oftentimes the new students may need a little more help around midterms, or may need a little more help going into finals. And so we really want to be there to help you through the entirety of the semester. This does count as a general elective, and you do need general electives to graduate. So this class does contribute to your graduation, helps get you to that final goal. And I want to talk about a couple of the goals of the class too. As I mentioned before, we're really trying to make sure that you have a smooth transition to college. We know that there's a lot of things changing, right, in your first semester in college. Many of you are living away from home for the first time. Many of you are cooking and cleaning, yourself for the first time. Many of you are living with a stranger for the first time, right? Or a relative stranger. I know some people will be living with friends from high school, but that's not always the case, right? You're going to be oftentimes navigating having this new person around, right, in your living space, which is pretty novel. Sharing that physical space with them, right? So those are all big changes. Of course, building a new social network is a big part of college too. Some people can carry elements of that high school social network with them into college, but for a lot of people, right, that's going to change, and you're going to form a new friend group and a new social circle. So there's a lot of things, and that's to say nothing of academics, right? You're transitioning from high school academics to college academics. Faculty in college have different expectations, and the work load and the way you achieve success in college is different. So, these are all things that we try to support you with in the class. We try to make sure that academically and socially, I mean, those are kind of two big things, academically and socially, that you are having a good experience, right, in your first semester at NAU, and that you're acclimating to this new environment. So, you can see some of that reflected in our goals. We want to build your belonging and familiarity with campus. We want to make sure that you're connecting with other new students and making friends. And we have a lot of different ways that we do that in the class. Every NAU 100 class is, I think they're capped at 28 students. So they're small classes, right? You're going to have some big classes in your first year, but this is a small one. And really, you're going to get to know everybody in that class. And we see year after year that students build durable friendships through this class. We have activities and assignments in the class that are specifically about that, right? The whole point is like for you just to get to know the people around you. And that really marks this seminar as something pretty different than what you're going to find elsewhere across campus. If you're in Psych 101, for example, right, you're not going to be assignments in Psych 101 that are all about meeting the people next to you, right? But we do that in this class because it's part of our goal. We want you to learn about resources. We want you to know about tutoring and how to access those things. We want you to know about campus health, health promotions, counseling services. And we're really here to help you connect with those resources. We're here to be like a friendly face to walk you over to financial aid if that's what you need. So we're here to connect you with those resources and make sure you're getting what you need. And we really train our instructors to really be open and welcoming and help you find what you need. So I'm just thinking back to last fall. There were a number of students that I walked over to campus health, or we walked over to financial aid, or we talked about various challenges that they were happening, like that were happening. We're here to be a friendly face and make sure again that you have a good experience at NAU. A couple of the things that we do in the class is we want you to reflect on your strengths. And, I think unfortunately, sometimes when we're making a big life transition, like a transition from high school to college, we can sometimes dwell on our deficiencies, and the things that we're not good at. But what we try to do in this class is really highlight the things that you are good at. And we want you to build on those strengths. And we really see that as a key to your success in college. So through this class, we talk about strengths, we reflect on them. There's a personality quiz that we do in the class. And again, that's intended to kind of help you double down, if you will, on the things that you are good at, which we think is really important. And then really a big part of the class too is like we're just holding space for your successes and your challenges. So there are going to be ups and downs in your first semester at NAU, as would be the case anywhere you went to college. There are going to be some things that go well and some things that don't go so well. And we are here to kind of talk you through that. And part of what we do in the class is we have one-on-one meetings with your instructor. So like if I was your instructor, we would meet one-on-one twice throughout the semester. And those aren't scripted conversations or anything. We just sit down and we're like, okay, Brad, how was your first week? Tell me about how that went. And we just kind of check in and we kind of have that conversation through the whole fall semester to make sure that you're doing all right. That's part of our relentless welcome here at NAU. We really try to make sure that everybody feels supported, feels like they belong here. That's important to us. And we use this class as a tool to achieve that. So anyway, those are a few key things I wanted to mention just by way of introduction, I guess, to the class. But I wanted to pause here and see if anyone had any questions. So I'm just going to open up the chat here and see if we have any questions come in and just pause for a minute. It's a lot of me talking already, you know. It's too bad we can't have you just unmute and talk to me, but just gonna wait a minute and see if we have any questions come in. Silence is always awkward. Maybe doubly so over a webinar. I'm not really sure. Okay. All right. Well, not seeing anything in the chat, so I will go ahead and move on. But feel free to interrupt me at any point here. Okay, well, what is the class like? Wait, I see a Q&A. Oh, see, Denise had a question here, just joined. Is the 1-credit honors class the same as the one I'm talking about? Yes and no. So they are similar and they have similar goals. If you are an honors student, you will take Honors 100. If you are not in the honors college, typically you'll take NAU 100, or you might take an FYS 121 class. Those 3 classes are they are all support classes, if you will, for new students. So I hope that answers your question, Denise. If you are in Honors 100, then you won't be taking NAU 100. Okay. We'll check back in on this. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Denise. So, yeah, what is this class like? You walk into this class, what is it going to be like in the fall? Well, it's what I would call seminar style. And what that means is the class is primarily discussion based. So this is not a class where you're going to come in, sit down, and listen to a lecture. You know, if I was teaching the class, I'm not going to lecture to you the whole time. That's not really what it's about. We have lots of discussions, we have lots of activities, and lots of interaction with the other students around you and with the instructor. So we want you moving around, we want you interacting, talking, and really it's I guess a laid back class, if you will. You know, the focus of this class, as I have here on the slide, is really you, the student, and your success. And that's the whole point. So we want to be engaging with you. We want to hear from you. We want to hear about your experience and figure out how we can best support you. So I hope that sort of helps you understand what the class is like. You know, it's a fun environment, and we really encourage people to talk to each other and share their successes and challenges, like I already mentioned. Part of the way we achieve that is that most of these classes are actually taught by a peer instructor. So NAU is pretty unique in that, in this modality, in that it's actually another undergraduate student who teaches this class. And so you really get to interact with an upperclassman and kind of get that support through another student. Now, we do have there will be a few sections in the fall that are taught by people like me, but in all likelihood, you're gonna have another student as your instructor, which is a really neat aspect of this program. And we have just found over the years that peers are more effective, right, at connecting with other students and troubleshooting problems. And you know, you're just going to be probably less likely to talk to me, right, the scary professional staff with a tie or something. So and I'm older, right, so it's not as fun. But yeah, taught by a peer instructor, which is a really cool part of the program. And another thing I want to mention too, as a 1-unit class, there's really not a ton of work in the class either. Again, the focus is on you. So this isn't something where you're going to have to worry about taking exams or like studying for exams, writing papers. That's not what this class is about. Again, it's about supporting you. So it's really something that's easy to kind of tack on to your schedule, get some additional support, and not really have to worry about it too much through the fall in terms of like adding to your workload. It is worth a credit, so we do have some assignments, but again, it's nothing to the extent that you would find in like Psych 101, for example, or Bio 181, right? It's not a content heavy class. All right. Well, I'm going to pause there again and just see if there's any questions. Pause for a moment here. Okay, I don't see anything in the chat, so I'm going to move on to the next slide here. I did want to talk about some of the topics that we cover. I've listed a couple here, but broadly speaking, what we try to do through this class is hit all the major questions, I guess, or hurdles that you might encounter in your first semester at NAU. So we talk about navigating academics. We talk about learning strategies, how to be successful when preparing for exams. I'm thinking, for example, we have a lesson towards the end of the semester that's all about preparing for finals, for example. So we have content that's about helping you prepare academically. And again, those are more discussion based. It's more about workshopping things with other people. It's not about, me standing up there, standing at the front of the class telling you how to get an A in Bio 181, right? We just kind of talk through these things and share ideas. And we have some tips too that we'll share, but again, it's really a conversation. We have a lot of advising content in this class. And so we have a spring scheduling workshop where we just kind of sit down, everybody sits down, and we kind of work on our spring schedules together, and we troubleshoot problems. If you don't know how to put a class in your cart, we'll help you with that. If you're not sure how to fulfill a liberal studies requirement, we'll help you find out which classes fulfill which requirements. We'll look at progression plans and help you work through that. And basically kind of map out your path to graduation. In fact, I think that's one of the titles of our lessons is your path to graduation. So there's a lot of advising content in there. And then of course, we are always here to help you connect with an advisor. So if you have a question that you really need to talk to an advisor about, we're going to help you get over there, schedule an appointment, and get the help that you need. Our instructors are really closely connected with the advising community, and so we kind of have a direct channel with them, which is super helpful. Health and wellness is a big topic in NE 100. So we talk about navigating new relationships in college. That could be friendships, roommates, romantic relationships. Like I said at the beginning of this presentation, right, you're building a new social network. And so we have some things we'd like to share with you about that and how to navigate those new relationships that you're forming. And again, this is discussion based, right? One of the lessons I'm thinking about is we go through some scenarios, and we have like a red flag and a green flag activity. And we're like, well, what do you guys think about this scenario? Does this cross a boundary in a relationship or not? We talk about AI. That's one of our new lessons this fall, how to use AI at NAU. We'll go over some of the policies that kind of govern when you can use it and when you can't, and how to use it as a tool to help you in your college career. So really excited to share some of that information with you. That should be a really fun one. We also do quite a bit with career exploration. So talking about, well, there's a couple different facets to that, right? We talk we talk about different careers that you can get from your degree, but we also talk about how to get a job. One of the assignments in the class is actually to visit a career fair, and we want to give you a head start in terms of getting a job, not only after college, but in college, right? We want to make sure you get that job, maybe your second semester on campus and start to build out your resume as you're going to school. So we really try to provide you with some important insights there. NAU uses a platform called Handshake. And so we work with you to, you know, figure out how to find jobs on campus through Handshake, how to set up a resume, and kind of get you started on that. So those are some of the topics that we discuss in NAU 100. It's not an exhaustive list. I'm trying to think. We also have some content in the first couple of weeks that are just about like navigating campus, finding resources and that sort of thing, and just getting started on your college journey. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of some of what we'll be talking about in the class. So I'll just pause here quickly and see if there are any questions about that. Happy to go into more detail about the content if needed, or any of the curriculum really. And I will say about the curriculum, we've spent many years refining this. So I feel very confident in saying that I think everything that's in this class, you're going to find relevant, to your college journey in the fall. Okay. Not seeing anything in the chat. Well, I did also want to mention, I do see a question here. Yeah, are there job fairs held throughout the semester? I was told there was a career fair before classes start. There is a career fair, in fact, before classes start. I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe it's the Thursday before the semester begins. I might have to track down that information for you. But yes, there is one before classes start, and then there's at least one more during the semester, because that's the one that we actually direct our NAU 100 students to, and we have you attend that one. So yes, there are career fairs throughout the before and during the semester, and then of course there's the career development office, which you can always access at any time, and they are there to help you hunt down jobs, think about your career and what you can do with your degree. So I hope that answers your question. Maybe not a precise answer, but okay. Well, I did also want to mention that, I see a couple more questions here. Yes, there will be a recording available. And I'm happy to stick around for a bit to answer any questions you might have. I don't think we're going to go the full time here, so. Okay. All right. Well, I just wanted to share a few of our outcomes, I guess, with you as well. We don't just think that this is a good idea and say that you should take it. We do a robust assessment on this course every year. And what those metrics and data are showing us is that this class is effective, and that it helps students not only have a better experience in the fall semester, but it also helps them continue their academic journey. And so I wanted to share a couple, pieces of information with you here. The first being that students who take this class retain to the second semester at a much higher rate. So that's one of the benefits, is that the class helps build resilience and will help get you to that next semester. And we know that getting you to that spring semester is important in getting you to that second year, which in turn gets you to graduation, right? It's a matter of building momentum. And that's really what this class is about. Like, we're trying to help you build that momentum so that we can slingshot you to graduation, right, in 4 years or 5 years. And we find that this is gives you some energy moving forward. We also find that students who take this class have higher first term GPAs, so they tend to perform better academically. And this is particularly true for first generation students. So if you're a first generation student, we kind of see across the board that this class has a pretty big impact. So that's another piece of data we've been looking at. And then we also did some assessment on our survey results from last year. And we found that students who took the class reported a greater sense of belonging. So it's, I don't know, it's kind of an amorphous term, belonging, but basically, students who took this class felt more welcomed on campus. They felt like they belonged on our campus, right? And they felt like this was maybe a home away from home for them. And that just tells us, right, that the class is helping to build some of that community and build some of those connections with folks around campus. So those are a couple things I wanted to share there about our outcomes and our impact. Okay, well, those are the main things I wanted to share. And as I mentioned before, most of you probably received an email about NE100. And so if you'd like to kind of learn more about the class that way, I'd recommend digging into your inboxes and finding that. You can also reach out to us over email if you'd like additional information or have other questions about the class. Our main email is that nau.fye@nau.edu. Or you can also just email me directly too at benjamin.carver@nau.edu, and I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have. So I hope this was helpful in giving you a sense of like, what is this class? How is it going to help me? What is it all about? And I'll leave my contact information up there. But at this point, just wanted to again open it up for questions and see if there's anything I can answer for folks or things that I didn't address.
While we wait for some people to ask some questions, I actually had a question that I wanted to ask. What is the training like for the peer instructors? How do they go about becoming a peer instructor, and what does it look like to be equipped to be a peer instructor?
That's a great question. If you take NE100, you'll also have the opportunity to apply to be a peer instructor the following year. So that's a great point, Caroline. It is a great job opportunity as well, particularly if you are interested in going into teaching. But really, this class is a fantastic addition to your resume. And we've found that year in, year out, students who have a peer instructor experience do really well post-graduation in terms of getting a job, because it's you are in front of that class leading it. So it's great leadership experience. And we are pretty unique in that we let undergraduate students teach this class. Not many institutions do that. So it's a really cool opportunity if you want to think about that down the road. But yeah, we have a training class, Caroline, that you'll take if you're accepted to be a peer instructor. And so we do a lot of work to prepare you to teach the class. And we have training actually ongoing throughout the fall semester as you're instructing as well. So hopefully that answers your question. So the class, we had a question in the chat, is it online or scheduled in person? It's in person only. Yeah, so it's only available on the Flagstaff Mountain campus, and it's in person. So we've tried doing online versions of it before, and it's a little tough because really this is a discussion based class, you know, and online is kind of difficult for that. So, any other questions?
While we're waiting, I will also just say I took NAU 100 way back in the day in 2014. And it was a really incredible class. I really truly feel like I was very well equipped to handle college going forward, especially picking out my classes. That was a huge benefit that NAU 100 provided. So just wanted to throw that out there too. And we do have one more, we have another question in the chat as well.
Question is, are there a lot of times offered for the class? Yes. I think we will have upwards of we'll have around 55 sections of the class this upcoming fall. So it's offered, I believe, anywhere from 9 a.m. in the morning all the way until I think we have some sections at 5:30 at night. So you can choose from a pretty broad range of times. And the class meets twice a week for 50 minutes. I should have mentioned that right at the start. That's a huge omission. It meets twice a week for 50 minutes. So it's not a heavy load in terms of your in-class time. And you'll take it either Monday, Wednesday, or Tuesday, Thursday. So twice a week for 50 minutes. So hopefully that's helpful. Anything else? Oops. Yeah, I see another question. No need to apologize for the questions. Are there similar courses after freshman year? Yes. Yes and no. So if you were to land on what we call academic caution, so if you had a first term GPA of less than a 2.0, then you'll have the opportunity to take, I believe it's called NAU 199. And that is a class for students on academic caution. And in that class, you'll kind of learn more about study strategies. It's a class about kind of helping you get back on track academically. And so that would be an example of a class that's available in the spring term. There are also first year seminars that are offered in the spring. So you could take NAU 100 in the fall, for example, and then a first year seminar in the spring. So there's a couple different options there, although we probably don't, you know, hopefully you don't get in the NAU 199, right? And we would hope everybody does well academically. So hope that answers your question. Okay. Well, thank you. Appreciate those questions. Usually if you have a question, somebody else has the same one. So appreciate you putting that in the chat. Again, happy to field any questions outside of this webinar. Send me an email. I should have put my phone number on here too. You can give me a call to 928-523-7299, and I'd be happy to talk with you over the phone as well. So. All right. Well, it was a pleasure to meet all of you. I would have liked to have seen your faces, but I appreciate the questions, and I hope you all have a great evening.
Awesome. Thank you so much again. We really appreciate it. Just a reminder for the folks who are still here, this has been recorded. It should be up on our YouTube